Well, welcome to Schenectady today, in and around the capital region, and we're so happy you're joining us today. Got a great lineup today, and if you like Girl Scout cookies, you're going to learn all about what ones are coming out this time. But I want to wish you all a very happy Chinese New Year. We're filming this on February the 5th, which is the beginning of Chinese New Year, and it's the Year of the Pig, and it's the beginning of the Spring Festival, and one of the most important holidays of the Chinese community. So anyway, happy Chinese New Year. I wish I could say that in Chinese, but you don't want to hear that. It might come out something else. So anyway, we're going to be starting out our show with the Girl Scouts. From there, we're going to be going to Schenectady and talking about Boston Marriage, which is a staged reading. It's one of their free performances. Then we'll be going over to Albany, and we're going to be hearing about their Creative Life series. And then we will be going to my side, the Museum of Innovation and Science, and learn about the butterflies. Yes, spring is coming. It really is. And I guess the groundhog didn't see his shadow, so I guess it is coming. So we'll be talking about the butterflies and their nano, zoom into nano. And then we're going to be talking about Black History Month. As you all know, February is Black History Month, and we'll be learning a little bit more about their activities. And then we're going to learn about some traditions of the theater. So, and then our breaks today will be dedicated to China. And we'll be looking at some of the Chinese folk music and music of the culture. So we're going to be starting right out. Mary is with us. She's the director, and we're so happy to have her with us. And along with her, she's brought three of the delightful young Girl Scouts. We have Julianne, we have Gabby, and we have, yes, right.
Shelby.
Shelby. I wanted to say Megan, and I go, no, it's not Megan. It's not Megan. Shelby. So we're going to be talking about those Girl Scout cookies. We have a few right here in front of us, if they can pick that up. So Mary, tell me, when does this sale start, and when can people get cookies? Where can they order them?
So we will start selling cookies on February 8th. Girls will start taking orders across the capital region. These cookies that are ordered now will be delivered sometime around the end of March, about March 24th. But I've got a great piece of news to share this year for the first time. The weekend of February 22nd to the 24th, we are going to give our customers a sneak preview of cookies. We are having cookie booths across the region for just 3 days only, and people can come by and buy their favorite box of cookies a little bit early.
Can they take it with them?
They can take it with them.
See, that's the thing. I mean, they like to be able to buy them and take them.
They will, and so they're going to be able to do that for one weekend just to get a sneak preview of cookies this year. We're excited. It's the first for us. It's National Cookie Weekend. We're going to be participating, so we look forward to seeing everybody at our cookie booth. So they want to know where a cookie booth is. They can go to our website and find a cookie locator. Just click that and put in your zip code, and it'll tell you all the cookie booths in that zip code.
Oh, well, that's great. Now, you've brought three of the Girl Scouts with you, so I'm going to go around and talk to each one of them. And we'll start with Shelby, because I got your name, right? So Shelby, what's your favorite cookie? Because you have something unusual.
Yeah, I actually recently was diagnosed with celiac disease. It's an autoimmune disorder where my small intestines can't absorb wheat or gluten. So my personal favorite is the Toffee-tastic, which is a crunchy cookie with little toffee bits in it. And the great thing about it is, like, typically, like, gluten-free cookies are very crumbly and dry and, like, break apart. But, like, what I've noticed with them...
Yeah, these are better, though.
Yeah, these are really good. And I notice they don't break apart in my hand once you take a bite.
Yeah, okay. And they're gluten-free.
Yes.
So this is new, isn't it? Or is that, have they had gluten-free all the time? I don't recall.
We've had gluten-free cookies, I think, about 3 years now.
Okay, yeah, because they haven't been a long time.
It has not, but it's been here for a few years.
Okay, good. And there's only one style of gluten-free, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. But it's there, right?
There.
And it's one you like.
Yes.
Okay, good. So we're going to go here, and I have Gabby behind me. Gabby, what's your favorite cookie?
I think I'd have to say the Thin Mint, you know, classic minty cookie, and something that people don't really typically know about it is that it's actually vegan.
It's vegan? I did not know that. So we have gluten-free, we have vegan. Who knew? Okay, that's great. Where do you sell your cookies? You call up your grandmother and your uncle and your aunt.
I reach out to relatives. I actually send cookies to my relatives all the way in Alaska.
Okay.
I also try selling to friends and teachers at school, and we do our local cookie booths around the community, and we try and go door-to-door selling when we can.
Okay, good. That's great. And how about you, Julianne?
Well, I like the Samoas, the purple in the front. They're my
okay,
favorite.
and we've got a few of them right here.
They always have been ever since we were like in kindergarten. We weren't actually allowed to sell cookies yet, but I like those ones. And then, yeah. So.
Yeah, that's great. So, and then you don't mind selling them and getting out there and raising. What do they do with that money?
You know, they do a lot of things, and these girls may have their own plans. I can share some of the troops have done community projects. One group of troops in Rexford bought a bulletproof vest for a police dog. Other girls will go on trips, and so they earn that money to help pay for those trips, whether it's overseas or domestically to Washington, D.C. I know these girls have done projects with the monies that they've earned, and maybe you can share some of the things you've done.
Yeah, that would be great. We have time, so let's start. Well, let's start here, Gabby.
We've used some of our money to fund our Silver Award project, which is a kind of help your community when you're in middle school. So we built buddy benches for local elementary schools to help stop bullying.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah. And how about you, Julianne?
When we were in elementary school, our cookie money helped us go to Washington, D.C. for the 100th anniversary of Girl Scouts.
How exciting that
really
was.
cool.
Well, that's an exciting trip. And how about you?
Well, like what Julianne said, we do a lot of trips. Like recently we did a winter encampment, and we stayed over at Hidden Lake Camp, and we used the money like for food and all the things like that.
So it's used to support the activities. Are you all in the same troop?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. So because they seem to know each other. And
Very well. Yes.
Now, are you all in the same school?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
We are
good.
now.
I've just for now, yeah. So I just kind of wondered how that worked. So when are the troops associated with a school, or you just have a troop and then wherever they're coming from?
Both.
Both.
So
if they're homeschooled, they could still join a troop.
Absolutely, or sometimes they're associated with churches or other community, organizations, or so schools are certainly a very common place for troops to form, but they're not the only place. And then we have girls who don't belong to a troop. They're called Juliettes, kind of a special name we have. They still participate in Girl Scouts.
No Romeos, right?
No Romeos, not in Girl Scouts, but they participate. They participate in Girl Scouts. They can sell cookies too. We offer a lot of programs at the council level that these girls take part in, and often we find with older girls who have extremely busy lives and schedules, being part of a troop can be a challenge, but they still want to be a Girl Scout. So they continue to be Girl Scouts, but they're in this sort of Juliet path, and we stay connected with them as well.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you, because I always ask these questions because volunteers are very difficult to find.
Absolutely.
Do you need volunteers to be troop leaders?
Absolutely. We desperately, well, maybe not desperately, we very much need troop leaders. And we've always been, frankly, successful at recruiting girls to be, to come in and become troop members, but it's getting the leaders and getting the volunteers. We've got some great resources, plus staff who help leaders and help leaders on, what can they do, and help them kind of chart out their plan for the year for the troop. So absolutely would love anybody who is got the time to come in and be a leader. We would love to have them.
Should they have been a Girl Scout before?
They don't need to be.
Okay,
in fact,
so they don't have to have a history. They can just
they don't have to have a history.
a love of helping.
Helping girls. We have leaders who, oftentimes you might, not surprising, leaders may be parents, often moms who have daughters, but we often have leaders who are maybe moms, but they don't have daughters, and that's why they become part of Girl Scouts.
So
it's an opportunity
perfect.
to work with girls, because in their personal lives they don't have daughters on a day-to-day basis to do that with.
Well, what a delightful way to get that relationship going. If you're interested in Girl Scout cookies, and who wouldn't be, you can certainly check their booth out. I think she said February 24th. Is that?
February 22nd to 24th is
yeah.
our first weekend of booth sales, and then in April we will have them up for pretty much every weekend in the month of April. And our cookie locator is a link on our website you can find. Put in your zip code.
Will you be at malls, basically malls, or no?
Yes, malls. Okay. Yep, malls and Stewart's and all locations around the region.
So check it out. Oh, there goes my microphone. I don't know. I can't seem to keep my microphone on. But anyway, if you're interested in Girl Scout cookies, and as I said, who isn't, check it out. Go to their cookie locator. And if one of these lovely ladies comes to your door, please buy a few boxes of cookies, your favorite kind. No excuse if you're a vegan or gluten-free. They got you covered. Stay tuned. We've got a great segment coming up next, and you take a look at this Chinese culture, and then from then on, we're going to talk about Boston marriage. Stay tuned. Boston Marriage. Oh my goodness, what is a Boston Marriage? Well, Evan Jones is the director. He's going to tell us a little bit, and Laura Graver is an actor. And this is a staged reading, which is a little bit different than just going to the theater and sitting into your theater and watching a play. This is a staged reading. First of all, tell us, what is a staged reading?
Staged reading is essentially a regular play, but the actors have their scripts in their hands. So they're reading from the scripts, but it's fully staged, and the actors are fully committed. They just happen to have the scripts in their hands.
Okay, so so you don't have to memorize anything.
No,
Well, you got to know your material.
Got to know just a little bit.
You got to know your character,
yes.
and you got to know, and you have a director who's going to help you out.
We do.
What is this about? It seems to me this is sort of about. It takes place back then, but it really relates to today.
Yeah, a Boston Marriage is a term. This play takes place in Victorian New England, and a Boston Marriage is a term for two women who live together.
Okay.
Essentially, they're essentially married to each other without being married. And
Well, but that's all changing now.
oh, sure, yeah. So this play, written by David Mamet, who's one of America's best playwrights,
Best playwrights.
involves two women and a maid, and it's just the three characters.
Oh,
in
just
the whole
three
play.
characters. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay.
And I think it's David Mamet's funniest play by a mile, and Laura is one of the women, along with Jennifer Lefsick, and Angelique Powell is the maid.
Yeah,
and they're
yeah.
amazing.
She's wonderful, Angelique. Yeah. So how do you like the play?
Oh, I think it's one of the funniest things that I've ever read or been involved with. I think it's really.
Because you've been in other productions, I know that.
Oh yes, yep, many other productions, but this is a lot of fun. It's really cool to do it as a staged reading, so you kind of give a smaller audience a sample of what it is, and then
you're doing it downstairs. You're not doing it in the theater
right.
itself.
We are. It's
And
a little
it's
bit
cabaret
more,
style.
Yes, it's a little bit more intimate. There are tables. It's so we can roughly get about the
50 to
50?
55, 60, somewhere in that
Yeah.
range.
Yeah.
So hopefully we pack it.
It's a free event, but it's also pay what you will. So you'll take donations. Of
Absolutely.
Course. Yeah.
And the theater has made a lot of improvements over the last couple of years.
You have an elevator.
Woohoo!
Woohoo.
And anything anyone could spare would be very graciously
Would be
accepted.
helpful.
Yes.
Yeah. And every time I go, it looks like there's a little tweaking here and there, and that things are always looking very
Absolutely.
good. I love the fact that during productions you can get a free cup of coffee or a free
sure,
tea.
yeah. Yeah.
And we're going to have cookies and coffee during the reading as well.
You're going to do that as well.
Yes.
Now the reading is the full play, right?
Yes, full
It's not
play.
abbreviated, so you will have an intermission.
Yes.
Yeah.
The play will run about an hour and 40 minutes, plus a brief intermission.
Yeah.
So it's not a
you want to
long-
encourage people, do they need to buy tickets ahead of time? Or not buy, but get tickets ahead?
Nope.
Or just show up?
Show up at the door and come on in.
Okay, and you'll find a chair for them if you have to.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Evan, you've directed other plays, haven't you, or have you? I know you've been on the show before, but I can't remember if you directed or you were acting.
I've been in a lot of shows. I'm starting to direct now. I've directed small things here and there, but this
Okay.
is one of the first full-length productions that I'm the head of, and I couldn't have chosen a better cast than the three actresses I have. They're three of the best actresses in the area, in my opinion.
Are they? Well, you've got a good cast. No
Yes.
kidding. What does it take to become a director? What unique talent do you need?
Well, a good director needs to know. He needs to know acting. He needs to know writing, and he needs to know audience. And if you can get the most out of those three, you'll be a good director. A good director knows how to work with actors in a way that
Because if he's been an actor, he certainly knows both sides of it.
it typically helps. I've also written a couple things here and there, so I
Okay.
know a kind of playwright psychology. Why is this here? This line isn't there accidentally. It's there for a reason. We have to figure out why. And you want to give the audience what they want, but you don't necessarily want to give it to them the way they expect it.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So those are kind of my criteria for what makes a good director. Has to be kind of a jack of all trades.
Right. And are you? Is he a good director?
You know, no, he's a very good director. Yes,
I know.
Yes.
I mean, you know, I know
She
what
has
she's
to
going to
say
say
that,
that.
so.
No, I know she
You
would
know.
say that anyways.
Yes, a very good director. He always gives interesting notes, like something that you maybe hadn't thought of, where it's like, oh, hey, I didn't see that in this scene, and then suddenly it's like, oh wow, that scene makes so much more sense. Just the pointed, slight tweaking of something, or hey, what about this question or that question? So it's what I find good directing is. They ask you a question, make you think about your character, delve even deeper into the character's underbelly.
Does a good director allow his actor to, I don't want to say improvise, that's not a good word to use, but to add something to the character that maybe the director doesn't think of?
Well, they always say that the best way to be a director is to cast well. And when you cast well, you have actors that have great instincts. And an actor with really good instincts will make the director's job a lot easier.
Ah, okay.
Because they will say, because it's a give and take. The actor will do something that maybe the director didn't think about and say, oh, that works. And then the actor will do something and the director will say, well, how about this? And then that'll help the actor. So you're helping each other.
Working, yeah, you're working
yes.
together.
If you're doing it right, you're helping each other.
I think a collaborative process between actor and director is essential to make a good production, and also an enjoyable production during rehearsals.
You don't want the actors to go, oh, I got to go to rehearsal. You know, this is going, you know. No, you want everybody to be like on and excited about it and can't wait to get on that stage. In this case, you'll be downstairs, but it's still a stage.
Yeah.
And so if you want to see Boston Marriage, please join them. It's on the 10th of February, which is coming up soon. It's at 2:30, I think it is. 2:30. No charge, so that if you've never been to a live performance, this might be a way to see what is it really about. Get your well, I say get your tickets. You don't need tickets, but pay what you will. But please support local theater because they put so much into it. I know they're having fun, but you know, just let them have fun and make sure to clap, right?
And this play is hilarious.
Good.
It's really funny.
I'm glad to hear that. I mean, it's always good to have a good, bright, well, you know, it's a little wintry, but, you know, so a little excitement, fun, it's good. Yeah. Schenectady Civic Players, they're located in the Stockade, and please join them for a free event, and we'll be looking for you there. Stay tuned. Okay, great. Got everything. And here we are back again, and you know, we just talked about director and writers and learning about how interpretation of writing, but we're going to be talking a little bit about that today with this segment. We're with U Albany, and they have a collaborative of 3 groups. One is the Art Museum, one's the Writers Institute, and yours is the Performing Arts Center. So they formed this collaborative, and they're doing the Creative Life series. So I want to let Kim talk a little bit about this and tell us about each of the groups that is involved in this and how you make your selection.
Okay. Well, I'm from the U Albany Performing Arts Center, and I'm one part of this 3 entity collaborative, along with WAMC Public Radio. And back several years ago, I think it was about 4 years ago, we were part of a 10-venue, 8-county initiative to bring Twyla Tharp, the famous choreographer, and her company to the Capital
Proctor's
Region.
was involved with that too, because we got some classes going with the 440 board. Yeah.
And so Twyla came to the area and did an event or an activity of some type in every region.
Right, yeah.
And in Albany, she was at UAlbany, and she did a live interview with Joe Donahue, to which we invited an audience.
Well, he's with WAMC.
Right.
Yeah.
And the conversation surrounded her life as a creative person, and it was phenomenal. It went over very well. The audience
So the light bulb went up over your head?
It indeed did. And I was working at that time with Suzanne Lance, who was the former associate director of the New York State Writers Institute. And we looked at each other and said, we have something here. This is good stuff, right?
The story behind.
Yeah, and people want to hear about, they not only want to see an artist's work, but they want to hear about their lives and what it is they do each day, what drives them, what keeps them going, all of that. And so we talked to Joe Donahue, who had done the initial interview, and he said, I'm in. This is a great idea. And we invited the University Art Museum to join us, and we've had this series, now we're in our 3rd year.
Yeah, I know.
And how do we choose our guests? We do it collaboratively.
Okay, so Paul is with the Writers Institute.
Yes.
And what is the Writers Institute?
The Writers Institute is an organization started 35 years ago. Our founder, William Kennedy, the great Albany Pulitzer Prize-winning novelist, my mentor.
Ironweed.
My mentor. So I'm the 3rd director. I've been there a little less than 2 years, and we bring the world's great writers right here to Albany, and we put on 50 to 60 programs with writers, filmmakers, poets, essayists, free and open to the public. That's a really important part of our mission.
I've been to some of them, and they're held in the classroom.
We bring our writers to classes. We have public events in the Performing Arts Center. We go to Page Hall. We've had anywhere from 100 people to 800 people or more. We do symposiums.
They're very exciting to go to.
We did our first book festival this fall, which was a big success. So, but we love this collaboration with Kim and the Performing Arts Center and the University Art Museum, because art spans visual arts, literary arts, performing arts. So we bring people from all those worlds, and there's certain common denominators that drive to be creative. How do you find your inspiration? How do you fuel that creative imagination? And it's interesting how there's so many common themes across all disciplines.
And of course, they always talk about that writer's block, right?
Yes. Not allowed to have it if you're on deadline for a newspaper or magazine or a TV show. No writer's block here. No.
But let's talk about the performance that's coming up on March the 1st, which is, tell us a little bit about. She's a journalist.
Our next guest in the Creative Life series is coming on March 1st, which is a Friday. It's at 8 p.m. in the evening. We'll be at the UAlbany Performing Arts Center, and we're going to be hosting Susan Orlean, who's an author and a journalist from The New Yorker, a longtime journalist from The New Yorker. I think she's been there since the 1990s.
Yeah, she's a terrific writer. Yeah. The Orchid Thief was her long magazine profile turned into a book, a movie with Meryl Streep. Her new book is called The Library Book, which is on bestseller lists across the country. It's a true crime story of who started this fire that destroyed the Los Angeles Public Library. And she's kind of recreated this story, and it's sweeping the country.
It takes a lot of research to get to do a book
really
like
does.
that, yeah.
And she is brilliant. Follow her on Twitter. She has a couple million followers because she's really interesting and intriguing and a great journalist and a great writer, and we're excited to have her. And Joe Donahue will interview her on stage. And the other thing is the audience can ask questions. There's book signing afterwards, opportunity for the audience to interact with the visiting artists that we bring in.
Yeah. This is going to be at the Performing Arts Center,
Yes,
right? And that's not the campus center, right?
No, nope. It's not too distant from the campus
It's
center,
the
but a
Uptown
separate
campus,
building.
so 1400 Washington Avenue.
1400.
The big
I know which
Uptown
one
campus.
it is that you walk in. Yeah.
Yes.
I know exactly where that is now. What other guests, I guess I would say performers, but I don't want to use that word. What other guests will you be having coming up?
We have 2 more on the docket for this spring. But neither of them are confirmed yet, but they're this close to being confirmed.
Okay, so you can't mention the names.
We can talk about past guests.
We'd love to talk about some of the past guests.
So we had Lois Lowry, the beloved children's author. The Giver was one of her major books.
Yeah, The Giver. Oh my God,
we had 500 people, primarily young children and their parents and librarians, and the line for her to sign books went for over an hour, and she sat there and signed every book for these children. We had Patti LuPone, the Broadway star, and on. Kim can name a few
Savion
others.
Glover, tapper and choreographer. Tony Award-winning choreographer Garth Fagan, who did The Lion King. We've had violin virtuoso Regina Carter. Painter David Saleh.
Do you get a good response? I imagine the university students just absolutely go nuts over this. Do you get a good response from the community?
Yes.
We do,
yeah,
indeed.
Good.
We definitely do.
We work hard at it, though. We promote
You're
and
here
market,
right now.
and we're this helps. I mean, you have to continuously spread the word, even though we bring world-class people, and for free. If you want to see these people in New York, you would pay $50 to $100. I mean, the fact that we're free is really important, you know. So I think that brings also an accessibility to people who don't have $50 or $100 to spend, who come to hear these wonderful people. That's a big part of our mission, to make it accessible to all income levels.
Well, and it's important we talk about the arts, because to me the arts is an engine for our community, and a lot of people in business, I'm sorry, I have to say this, they don't see art.
Right.
And theater, and I mean, the visual arts or written word, whatever it is, they don't see that as, it doesn't make money, but it does.
It does.
It brings people into a community.
You're right.
I think, importantly, the arts weave a community together. They connect people. And so they tighten a community, and they broaden it. And I think that's what's beautiful about what the arts can do.
An economic engine. We're here at Proctor's. Philip Morris, I know I've known him for a long time.
Me too.
He's a hero. He's a hero. He has changed Schenectady. I knew Schenectady. I covered it in the early 1980s. It's a little different today, and it's because of the arts and Proctor's. No question. Nobody can deny that. But also the arts and the drive to be creative is what gets people up in the morning. Do you get up in the morning and say, hey, I want to get 3% return on my investments? No, it's like, I'm going to make a painting today, or write a poem, or listen to some music, or go to a concert.
I can't wait to get in and type on my computer to...
It drives people.
Write a book.
Yeah.
Write poetry.
It's sort of it's your heart, your soul, your mind, everything, more than other pursuits can give you.
Yeah, I think it's very important, and I think that maybe the realization is coming to more people to understand what's happening. And we talked about Philip Morris, but he not only looks at the theater, he's thinking about making energy for the downtown area.
Right.
I mean, so it's not just one thing that gets the community going and moving.
I go to Johnny's before performances here, 6 feet deep at the bar, you can't get a drink. I mean, that didn't happen before Proctor's was here.
No, and we have so many restaurants now that they're all packed.
Right.
So anyway, come to Schenectady. Thank you both for being here.
Yeah,
and I'm sorry your
having
third colleague could not be here with the collaborative, and that was with the Art Museum. But we certainly will say hi. Sorry, miss. But anyway, we hope that many people will join you, and I will certainly try and get there for that, because I certainly love literature, and this just love this stuff.
Great. Thanks for having us on.
And thank you both for being here. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be talking about our next guest, so stay tuned. We're going to my side, I believe. And here we are back again, and one of my favorite persons of collectors and exhibitions is Chris Hunter. I've worked with him for years. You're an amazing man.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you really are. And if you go into where he works, it's an amazing space. But anyway, we're talking about, you're up on the first floor now, and you're doing the butterflies, right?
Oh yes, we're putting the greenhouse together. Actually, we've got people there putting it together even as I'm down here. So. Yeah.
So. I guess my question is, where do those butterflies come from? I mean, would you go out and catch them and put them in there, or what?
Well,
because there aren't any butterflies out there.
Yeah, a little tough to catch, and that's part of the reason we do it right now. We want to get people ready for spring and ready for when they can go out and see butterflies. But we get them from places that are warmer and still have butterflies, North Carolina, Florida. And we get some of them as caterpillars, some as the chrysalis, and others actually come as live butterflies.
So therefore, when you go there, it's an amazing house because you can actually see them changing from that little caterpillar all the way up.
Oh yes, we have a little emergence chamber. We do actually, we've got about 130 caterpillars. Well, actually they were caterpillars. They just turned into chrysalis last week. That'll be emerging it's a little bit, you kind of plan the timing a little bit and hope nature cooperates, but
fingers crossed.
But hopefully they'll be emerging in the couple days right before the house opens on February 16th.
What I found was really interesting. We've got the photos there, but I want to mention the photos that it shows that they have the oranges. You put oranges out, and I did not know. There they are. Yeah. I did not know that the butterflies went to fruit. I don't know what I thought. I thought they were. I don't know what I thought.
Yeah, well, they have the proboscis, and what it really is, it's kind of like a straw with a sponge, so it kind of soaks up the fruit.
Sort of like a mosquito.
A little bit.
A little bit like a mosquito.
A little bit, and I mean,
because they suck it up.
Yeah,
right?
And like kids, they enjoy getting sugar for their energy.
Yeah. How long does the butterfly last?
Live. Yeah. The butterflies, as adult butterflies, they generally last about 4 weeks.
4 weeks. Well, what is and I'm going to ask you this, and maybe you know or maybe you don't. What is a butterfly migration when you talk about the butterflies migrating, if they only live a short time?
Well, with the monarch butterflies, there's kind of an exception to the rule. The ones that emerge up here in August, September, they develop a little bit slower, and they'll actually live for about 6 months. And they'll fly down to Mexico. They'll spend the entire winter, and then as it starts warming up in February, March, they start flying up. They finally finish maturing in Texas, and then they mate, and then they die, and then the next generation finishes the journey.
Amazing, isn't it?
Yep, and there's also a monarch migration on the West Coast. So monarch butterflies, maybe in Colorado, Utah, Nevada, west of the Rocky Mountains, they traditionally fly to the California coast and spend the winter there. But
I mean, this is amazing because you think of birds flying, you don't think of a butterfly getting together. Say, hey, come on, guys, we're all going to fly. We're not they become a flock.
Oh yeah, and the butterflies, the migrations at the very least are severely threatened. And on the West Coast, for instance, the Pismo Beach, California, in the 1990s, they had 100 to 150,000 a year. This year, they had 3,000.
What is causing it? You think global, insecticides and things like that?
Yeah, I mentioned the Roundup and the global warming. That maybe it's a little warmer and they don't feel the need to migrate quite as much.
Yeah.
And at least in California, they enjoy these eucalyptus groves that were planted in the 1800s. And the trees are getting old and dying.
Oh, so they don't have their food supply,
right?
Or what they look for.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, so that's the butterflies, and you're going to learn all of this when you go to the butterfly exhibit. And it's really cool because you go in there and those butterflies will land on you, and
I can see them fly around, and if you like butterflies but you're afraid of being in the room with them, It does happen more often than you think.
Really? Okay.
Our butterfly house has clear glass.
So you can watch.
Yep.
You can look at
Yes.
it. And they do check you before you leave because you cannot leave with any of those butterflies. But we also have another exhibit called Zoom into Nano. What is that all about?
Okay, so Zoom into Nano actually includes butterflies also.
Okay.
Believe it or not, but it's all about nanotechnology, which is a really big deal in this area with IBM and GE and Global Foundries and SUNY Poly. And what a nanometer is, it's 1/1000th of a meter. So for instance, this sheet of paper here, the thickness of the sheet of paper is 100,000 nanometers. So it's an exhibit.
It's a tiny, tiny, teeny thing.
Yeah. So the nanometer is a tiny, tiny thing, but the exhibit is actually really big and full of hands-on interactives. So all about how scientists work with things on the nanoscale. So there's lots of models. You're actually going into seeing some big models of things on the nanoscale, looking at magnification stations. For instance, one of them is actually, you look at the wing of a monarch butterfly and see it all the way down to the nanoscale, to the individual atom.
So this is a system of measurement, a nanom, right?
Yes, yeah.
It's a measurement.
Yeah.
Right. So is this, would you say, and I won't put words in your mouth, with all of our computers and using all of our technology, are they getting that small with their units of measure?
Oh, definitely. I mean, the Global Foundries right now, they're making computer chips that are 14 nanometers in diameter.
And we're talking, this is what, 100,000?
100,000, yeah. Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah, and there's places doing research on computer chips at 7 nanometers. So it's actually being able to manipulate each individual atom. So there are actually activities where we take balls probably about the size of a fist to kind of represent an atom, and you do it just like the scientists do.
Yeah, amazing. And when you stop to think that they're making these, they can make units so much smaller because they're using smaller and smaller measurements to get there. And you got to think, I mean, we're looking at a computer that uses only an open close, O or I or O or 1. I mean, it's beyond my comprehension.
Oh, yeah. And we've actually got some early samples of computer chips out there, and some of the chips that GE was working on in the 60s that the single chip would fit in the palm of your hand.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, in just 50 years, it's really just transformed tremendously.
Well, and I remember when it was all the cards. You'd program, and then all these cards would come out. They use COBOL and Fortran and those other programs that they were using.
Oh yeah, we've got some of that stuff. There's floppy disks and like these 8-inch
stuff that we used a few years ago are now in the archive.
Oh yeah. I mean, when I first went to school, there was one computer in the entire school.
Oh yeah.
And my nephew.
And it took up a whole room because it did at the College of Pharmacy. We had one that took up the whole room that had to be air conditioned.
Oh yeah, and now my nephew's school, everyone has their own computer.
Yeah, I know. So well, anyway, if you want to learn more about Zoom into Nano or the butterflies, bring your family, get in there, and they have interactive exhibits. You'll have lots of fun, and you won't want to leave. Believe me, you will not want to leave, and you want to come back often. Get a membership so you can get back as many times as you want. Thanks so much, Chris. Okay. Always good to see you. I'll see you on Friday.
Yep.
Good. Okay. And here we are back again, and I am so pleased to have a representative, the president of all things, how wonderful, of the Hamilton Hill Arts Center. And you're over on Schenectady Street, and you're doing some really good thing. You got renovated and doing some neat stuff. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing to help celebrate Black History Month, and how important is the Hamilton Hill Arts Center to our community?
Well, first of all, for us at the Hamilton Hill Arts Center, Black History Month is everyday practice.
Absolutely.
So it happens every day. We just don't have it the February of the month of the year, out of February of the year. And so we have several things that are going on in relationship to what it is that we're doing and what it is that we're playing. And I made a whole bunch of notes for myself.
Oh, good. She's got her notes. We're going with the notes.
Yes, so I wouldn't forget. So through the whole entire month of February at the Open Door Bookstore in downtown Schenectady, they'll allow you to purchase a book from our wish list that we will be able to, put into our new Black library there, and they'll allow you to do that for 20% off.
Oh, that's great. What a nice way to get the books in the library.
Right, and to support two organizations that have a really substantial history here, you know, in the Schenectady.
Cunningham and way back when.
Well, 50 years, you know, for the Hamilton Hill Arts Center, plus we're moving into our 51st year now. On Sunday, February 10th, we'll be holding a Bean Pie Social. We'll discuss...
Bean Pie Social, tell me about that.
Well, actually, bean pies came or birthed out of the Black Muslim movement.
Oh, okay.
And it was a way of generating income, and there's a whole history behind that.
Is there really a bean pie?
Yes, there's actually really a bean pie.
What kind? Black-eyed peas? Or
no,
what?
navy beans.
Oh, navy beans.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
So you'll be able to come and learn about that, as well as purchase bean pies too, if you want, you know, sample and purchase. Sure. On the 15th, which is a Friday, we'll be having an art exhibit and poetry reading that celebrates Natasha Shange. So all of the art will be in relationship to her, or will be she is serving as the muse, in other words.
Nice.
And the following day on the 16th at 4, we'll be hosting a visioning process for those interested in forming an Afrocentric school. Of course, our drummers and dancers from Umoja, are going to be out supporting.
Is Nelson going to be there? Do you think
he floats in and out?
He floats in and out.
Sometimes he does like drumming classes, and sometimes he goes and supports some of our events. But the drummers and the dancers are going to be at the Lincoln Elementary School celebration on February 13th, and at Schenectady County Community College
on the part of the SUNY
on the 21st. There'll also be various renditions of fences. Rendition of fences showing this month
at Siena.
Yes.
At Siena College. Isn't that exciting?
Yes, it is. Workshops.
Remy is directing that.
Oh, really?
Remy Monet,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's directing that.
Oh, well, that's going to be
Don
exciting.
Hyman is in it.
I'm going to have to be over there. I got to support Don. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Workshops are going to be happening throughout the area by important activists and poets, and I want you to kind of check out that information at 518 BLK Facebook. Facebook's page, they'll have that information.
Okay,
for you
good.
there.
That's really, so I didn't really realize you had the Facebook page.
We have a Facebook page.
Yeah, I know Hamilton Hill does.
Yes, but
this is a 518
BLK, yes, which kind of supports other African.
I'll check it out. And I'll like it.
Based organizations.
Good.
Thank you. I will appreciate that.
Yeah.
So, so those are some of the things that are happening at the Arts Center. But we want to encourage people to think about Black History Month as not just learning about the history of Black people, but actually supporting some of the Black organizations that are here in the capital area and the Black businesses. Like my pants were...
I love those. I was going to comment on those.
Yeah, they were sewn by Sincerely Black, which is a Black tailor here in the area.
We gotta get them on
does,
the show.
Yes, he does Afrocentric clothing and things of that nature, bow ties and all kinds of things.
Oh, I would love to have him on the show. Get me in touch with him.
I sure will.
Yeah, because that was cool.
Yeah. So.
And so this is really a celebration, if you look at it. I mean, we talk about Kwanzaa celebrating, but we're celebrating the richness
we are.
of the culture, and because black doesn't mean you came from one city.
No.
You come from
all over the whole world. We're everywhere.
You're everywhere.
We're in Fuji. We're in Brazil.
Yeah.
We're in Cuba.
Cuba.
Yes,
Yeah.
we are all over.
They're usually in the western part.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so the thing is that when we think about black history, I want people to kind of look at it as what it is. We celebrate European history in schools. We talk about it all year long. There are courses dedicated to that. But there have been so many rich cultures of color that have also come to contribute to the building of America. And this, for us, is, February happens to be our month. You know what I mean? But women have supported.
The misnomer is African American.
Oh.
That's a misnomer because there are you talk Guyana.
Yes.
I mean, there's so many
yes.
cultures that are of color.
Right. Well, when we say African American, we're talking about those people who were moved out of Africa, into the different diasporic areas of the continent. So that's why I say we're everywhere. We're in Brazil. We're in Cuba. We're in Fuji, we're in, Puerto Rico, we're in wherever it is that we were moved in order to help boost those economies. You're going to find Mexico. There's still people there who in Oaxaca look just like some of my ancestors. You know what I mean?
So I mean, this is what we're learning.
Yes.
And that's what's important. You don't look. It isn't just one label.
No,
it's just so much richness there, and each brings wherever you're from, wherever the culture is, because they were there for a while, so they created their own culture. They bring a richness to this country and to. And even if they're not in this country, let's learn about it, right?
Right. They have, they do Black History Month over the world, like in the Netherlands. They do it in the UK. They do it in a different month. In the UK, it's October or what have you. But
see, I did not know that. See, so I'm learning something.
Yes.
But it's important to support many of our, in our community. Let's just support our community. But to me, supporting is one thing, but to learn and to share is which gives us that richness in our community. And for us to think of just a flat line, I mean, there's nothing interesting about a flat line. You want to see a little.
Yes, it's the three-dimensional that helps us understand what our place is in the world. And for me to be able to come and see the world through your eyes and you to be able to see the world through my eyes is what helps us.
And then you find out everybody's the same.
Ooh. Peel it back. We're all the same,
we're
right?
all the same.
Basically.
You got it. Except I didn't know about the bean pie. I'm going to find out about that one. We've been talking with the president of the Hamilton Hill Arts Center, and we're so happy to be able to tell you what's coming on and what's coming up in the area for the Black History Month, but also to remind you the Martin Luther King event, which was scheduled but had the snowstorm come in for the Human Rights Commission. Will be held, and Ange will be on the show again to remind you about that. Will be on the 28th. I just wanted to remind everybody of that too.
Absolutely.
So stay tuned. We're going to talk about theater traditions next. Stay tuned. And here we are back again, and I have Janice Waltz with me. She's Jan's Wanderings now. I'm doing this Jan's Wanderings because she comes up with she's so involved in our community that I never know where she's going to be the German Americans, or is it going to be the Octava, is it going to be Proctor, what's it going to be? Theater, who knows?
Well, week, or last time I was on the show, I talked about Octavo's fundraiser, and I mentioned that we were going to model some of Viola Gray's 22 Shades of Grey outfit, and I wore a lovely coat. And this one is a lovely just drape that everybody's wearing it, and it's just fun clothes. She just does lovely things.
It's got my name on it right over here. I see that.
Yes, and decided she really likes this one. But also, I just want to mention, last Sunday they had the book sale at the main library. Now that's done. So from now on,
and she's involved with the Beat the Snow series.
right now, from now on until the end of March, there will be a concert every Sunday, 2:30 at the main library. And in 2 weeks, we've got Schenectady Light Opera coming. We have next weekend, the last weekend in February, Michael Clement, who plays great piano.
Wonderful.
Michael and his women.
Oh, and his women.
Oh, yeah. He's got a couple different women.
There was a snowstorm where we lost the musicians in Malwick. Are they going to perform?
Yes, I have them rescheduled. And so Palm Sunday, easy to remember. Musicians of Malwick are going to be down at the library at 2:30.
Okay, I'll mark that down.
So I'm really happy that we were able to do that. Yeah. But today, what I'm talking about is theater traditions. And I'll save the most common one at the end. When I was doing this, it was so funny because there's two that are like no longer thought to be traditions or superstitions. And why do we have superstitions about theater? It is like sports and theater and so many things. There is an element of luck. You know, if you are a football player and you are a great kicker, you know, all of a sudden the holder drops the ball. You know, it is luck sometimes. And the same with a stage presentation. So you have this buildup of superstitions. And one of the old ones was you weren't supposed to wear blue on the stage.
I had no idea that.
But the reason, you know, you have actors
and directors. The blue men probably got them.
Yeah, they got all the dye. But you have producers, and they're the ones who get the money for the show, stuff like that. Well, at a certain period of time, blue was a very expensive dye. And so they think the tradition came not from the actors. Monetary. The producers,
there's always something behind it.
The producers said, oh, it's bad luck to wear blue because they didn't want to pay the money for blue. And another superstition that has kind of been replaced with modern times is the whole idea of whistling on stage. Because if you think of some of the older stages and where you've got the guys, you know, pulling on the ropes for the sandbags and stuff, and you see this in murder mysteries all the time.
Always. Somebody's always getting killed with that sandbag.
Because the sandbag falls. Well, in certain theaters, you know, if you've seen border collies moving their sheep around, the master is whistling to them and they know the cue.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I've seen that.
So early on, they were saying that people whistled a cue. Okay, this whistle is bring it up. This one is bring it down. Well, if you got other people whistling, could be a problem.
Oh, I had no idea.
So again, those with modern
they probably don't use that now,
they
but
probably don't. But in some of
the
your
tradition
little
of don't
theater,
whistle.
Don't whistle.
Yeah.
Now, there's also, and we've talked about this before, the whole ghost light.
Yeah, the ghost light stands in the middle of the...
They're all in all theaters, and you could either say they're there for ghosts, of course, of the theater, so they have their own light to see and be seen by, or of course the safety element so that nobody falls off the stage while you're looking for the light switch. So again, that one very
serves
practical.
A purpose,
And mirrors. I mean, just here we have lights all over the place, and you have to be very, very careful with your mirrors because you can shine that light into somebody's eyes if you're not careful.
Right.
And then they're bumping into the set
Well, a Phantom of the Opera
whatever.
uses that mirror, and I always kind of look, how are they doing that so that it doesn't do that?
Yeah. Exactly. So mirrors are something that are not really popular to have on stage. And again, part of it is the idea of safety. And there is our theater Proctor's, of course, has a couple ghost and the dog ghost and things like this. But for theaters where things go wrong and they don't have their own ghost, they refer back to a ghost from ancient Greece, Thespis, and from that word, the thespians. And a lot of people are familiar with what we call the Greek chorus. Oh, yeah. Where you've got a group of people responding to the actors and things. And so Thespis was supposedly the first actor who stepped out of the chorus and actually had his own lines, which is why we're called thespians. Oh, okay. And so if you don't happen to have a ghost in your theater and things are falling apart or something's going wrong, you can blame him. We can blame him. I have to tell who's coming on next week, but we're coming back to it. Yes, because I have two more. Next week, Cash Coalition, we're talking, I'm going to have a conversation with Ron Soriano, a very interesting man, and we're going to be talking. Electric City Barn, Electric City Chorus are going to be performing the New Russia Winter Festival, and they're bringing an artist in from Moscow, actually. And then St. Clair's Pensioners are going to give us an update. So that's that. So go ahead. So before I do the most common one, often if you're in a show, people suggest you do not name Macbeth. You don't talk about the play, Shakespearean play, Macbeth. You call it the Scottish play. And there's a couple reasons for that. Yeah, number one, when Shakespeare was writing, the three witch scene and stuff like that, it is suggested that he actually consulted a book on black magic. So if you're superstitious at all, you're thinking, okay, I don't want to mention that play and invite the bad spirits to come in on stage. Okay. Also, the gentleman who was supposed to play Macbeth in Shakespeare's time was killed in an accident. And Shakespeare actually had to take over. Bad luck. Yes, so it was bad luck. So that is why generally, and I've seen that people don't. The last one is break a leg. Yeah. And actually, and if you look around, those are legs. Those are legs. So you've got your main curtain, but the other blacks or legs that cover what's going on backstage. And if you break through or break a leg, you are on the stage. And so that's where that expression comes from. Yeah, I know. And it's funny because the producers, where he says good luck. And he says, no, never say good luck. Don't say good luck. Say break a leg, but don't say good luck. Yes, exactly right. Good. So it's interesting. Yeah, so we're almost out of time, but I want to thank you for watching Schenectady Today in and around the Capital Region. I'm Ann Perilla talking to Jan, and she does her wanderings, and so we're always happy to see her do her wanderings and come back to us and tell us a little something about something in our community. Yeah. What I can't find, you'll find, right? Yes, between the two of us. So we're all set, and happy Chinese New Year. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's here now, and I think we're almost about out of time. So thank you all, and we'll both wish you happy Chinese New Year. You're the pig.